I'm Sarah Baxley, and welcome to Pinkie the Bear. This is my mystics, metaphysics, and mindfulness channel, and I'm here today with your astrology forecast for the total lunar eclipse and a week of July 22nd, 2018. So it's super funny, I was getting ready today, and it's super hot outside right now, as I'm sure it is a lot of places because it's summer. I'm in Southern California, but anyway, it's super funny because I was like getting ready today and I was like doing makeup and stuff to film, and I was like, for whatever reason, I was feeling like, ooh, like, let's put on some crazy thick cat eye eyeliner and some fake lashes and like all this stuff. And I was like, why am I wanting to go so over the top today? And it's like freaking dripping sweat down my face. And I realized, oh yeah, the sun just went into Leo today at like 2 o'clock. So happy Leo season, everyone. You know, Leo's ruled by the sun, so it's very much about letting your light shine. So, you know, and, you know, potentially going over the top a little bit, being a little bit, you know, having a little bit of an entertainment flair. That's definitely where Leo feels comfortable in addition to creativity. So I thought that that was kind of funny. I was like, of course, it's because the sun went into Leo and I didn't even realize it. And I'm like, ooh, I'm feeling so over the top. Anyway, doesn't matter. Let's get into your astrology forecast for the week. So the two themes of this week are 1, out of left field, and 2, you gotta let go. So, you know, I just want to start out by saying we have the total lunar eclipse that's this Friday. And lunar eclipses in astrology signify kind of like, it signifies like the end, like an ending in some way. The end of a chapter, you know, just it just signifies kind of more of an ending to something that's been going on in our lives. And the other thing is sometimes with lunar eclipses, it can also kind of symbolize things to do with relationships. And it doesn't necessarily have to be relationship like a significant other. It could be a family member, it could be a friend, it could be a coworker, business project, anything like that. But you know, it just kind of also kind of tends to be a little bit more relationship oriented in nature. And this particular week, the beginning of the week kind of starts out pretty smooth, Sunday and Monday, and you know, then things kind of start to shift a little bit, right? And I just want for everyone to just kind of be mindful of that, and definitely take a breather Sunday and Monday while we're here, and while you can, because the rest of this week, you know, just the momentum picks up very quickly and gets very intense very fast. So just be mindful of that. So before I get into the first part, which is out of left field, so basically first Tuesday we have a Venus-Neptune opposition, and with that kind of signifies a little bit of disillusionment in some way. So I just want for you all to be mindful on Tuesday, because things can either appear better or worse than they seem. So just kind of keep that in mind. So then the first theme of the week really kind of happens on Wednesday, which is out of left field, right? We have 2 really big transits happening both on the same day, and the fact that it's like just a couple days before a lunar eclipse, like, I'm not gonna lie, makes me a little bit nervous, just a teeny bit. But basically, so Wednesday, out of left field, right? So we have in the morning, early hours of the morning, there is a Sun-Uranus square, and that happens twice a year. And basically that can kind of signify, you know, kind of just wanting to break free or do things your own way or go to the beat of your own drum. But it can also be a little bit accident prone. So, you know, if we weren't so close to a lunar eclipse, I don't know that I would be as, you know, put as much emphasis on this, but you know, just take a little bit of extra caution, you know, throughout your day, just because there kind of can be a little bit more of this, you know, out of left field type of energy. So then we go into later on in the day on Wednesday, and that is, we have Mercury stations retrograde. Now I always joke because like Mercury retrograde, oh my God, I can't talk. Now, I always joke because Mercury retrograde, I feel like, gets a little bit more attention in pop culture than it really should. However, station days, like when a planet is stationing, specifically the personal planets, just things are a little bit more haywire. It's almost like everything has come to a standstill. And Mercury governs communication and travel. And again, as we already have that Sun square Uranus energy going on, that accident prone, kind of out of nowhere, out of left field kind of energy, I think it just puts even more emphasis on the importance of our mindfulness Wednesday and through the rest of the week, right? Because we have that energy happening. And then we also have on Thursday, we have Sun opposite Mars. And, this happens generally just once a year. And again, this is something that's like happening literally the day before the lunar eclipse, kind of can bring up a little bit of like temper flare energy a little bit. So kind of be careful of that. Kind of just pulls a little bit more aggression into things. And when we're kind of already working with this like unexpected and unpredictable energy of the Uranus Sun square, it just kind of makes for us to kind of just be, again, just kind of keep your cool and be mindful, right? And then we come to the eclipse on Friday, and that brings me to the theme of you gotta let go. Now this eclipse, aside from the lunar eclipse that we had the end of January, we had the lunar eclipse the end of January, then we had the solar eclipse that was February 15th. We had another one, another solar eclipse in July. And then now we have this one. And honestly, I feel like this is kind of like the peak energy that we have all summer. And it is very much, again, as I mentioned, it's a lot about endings. It's kind of closing and ending a particular chapter in our lives. And it also can sometimes be relationship oriented. So, not necessarily saying that like relationships are going to end. They could, certain relationships could, but it's more so that things are going to change in some way and not be the same as they were before. Something that isn't working is going to have to change. So eclipses in general are within 19 degrees of the nodes. This particular eclipse is literally, I kid you not, right on the north and south node. We have Mars driving in Aquarius right at the south node. We have the Sun driving to the north node, and we have Uranus T-squaring them both, just really causing like an unpredictable flavor this week. And, fixed signs, so all three of those, so Aquarius, Leo, and Taurus, they are all fixed signs. And fixed energy does not, it's known for being the energy of the zodiac that is firm and solid and reliable, also stubborn, right? And not wanting to move. And, the thing is that having an eclipse in these, in the sign of Aquarius with these other fixed energies right there, it really kind of signifies that whatever it is that we're meant to be letting go of right now is something that we might not necessarily want to let go of, right? Fixed energy certainly doesn't want to let go. It certainly doesn't want to change. But without change, we don't have growth, right? Without change in our lives, right? We can't move forward. We can't have things be the same all the time, right? And sometimes we have to have things happen a little bit more intensified and intensely in order for us to kind of move on to a new chapter of our lives. This lunar eclipse is definitely about purging, about releasing what is no longer serving our highest and greatest good. And sometimes we think that we know best, but really, like, we don't always know best. Sometimes, the universe or God or whatever that is that resonates with you, sometimes things are bigger than what we can see with our own two human eyes, right? And what we can feel with our own human heart. And, eclipses are definitely a time where certain severances happen in our lives in order to kind of allow us to open up and be ready to receive, what the next endeavor is for us and what the next gift is that the universe has to offer. So I just wanted to kind of throw that out there. So just wrapping up this week, you know, just exercise some extra caution this week. You know, things are going to start out kind of mellow, and then boom, like Tuesday, you know, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, there's going to be boom, 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 just like lots of stuff, like lots of transits happening back to back, and things can escalate really quickly. And then we have the total lunar eclipse on Friday that is really kind of symbolizing like letting go in some way of something, whatever this is, this thing that's been holding us back. You know, this lunar eclipse, it's an hour and 43 minutes long. It's the longest lunar eclipse in the last 100 years. It's really asking for us to let go. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and thanks for tuning in. If you want to see more videos like this and you're watching from YouTube, you can hit the subscribe button with a little bell, ding-ling, and it'll let you know when I post new videos. I usually do an astrology video and a meditation video at least once a week. So there's that. And if you're watching this from IGTV, then you can follow me with the little icon I believe right next to it. And if you have any comments, leave them below. But thank you so much for tuning in, and hang in there, and just know that this big eclipse this week is just making room for the things in our lives that we, you know, is for our highest and greatest good, and that we should really be honing in and paying attention to. So anyway, thanks again, and I'll see you around. Cheers.